Today I'm trying a recipe for raspberry cordial from the Anne of Green Gables cookbook. You may be familiar with the very much loved Anne of Green Gables stories by Lucy Maud Montgomery. The first book in the series of 8 was written in 1908, and this cookbook, published in 1985, was written by L.M. Montgomery's granddaughter, which I just think is so cool. It was re-released a few years ago, so it is still available today. I will go ahead and drop a link to this in the description down below if you would like to purchase a copy for yourself. Until this year, I hadn't read any of the Anne of Green Gables books. So I decided to put that on my book goal for 2023. I have Goodreads. If you want to join me there, I do keep track of my books and I set a goal for myself every year. Right now, I have finished Anne of Green Gables and I am almost done with Anne of Avonlea. Before I started reading the books, I was vaguely familiar with some of the scenes, mostly due to the 1985 movie starring Megan Follows. And this is probably, if you're around my age, something that you're also familiar with. I remember going to the video store, yes, the video store, and begging to rent it, and it was 2 VHS tapes long. That's mostly where I became familiar with the stories and with some of the very iconic scenes. Food plays a big role in these stories. There are a lot of memorable dishes. Spoiler alert, this book was written in 1908, but I'm just letting you know. I am gonna tell you a little bit of what happens. Anne and her best friend are going to have tea, and it's very exciting. Anne gets to prepare all the food, the beverages, things like that. And she is permitted to give her friend, her best friend, her bosom friend, Diana Barry, some raspberry cordial. Unfortunately, the raspberry cordial gets switched or swapped or mistaken for a bottle of currant wine. So Diana Barry drinks the raspberry cordial that is actually currant wine, and she gets drunk. And at the time she's maybe 11, 12 years old. So it's not a very good scene, but it is a mistake. Anne didn't do it on purpose. She would never hurt her bosom friend in that way. It was just all a mix up. But to me, that's the first recipe I think of. There's also a recipe in here for, let me find it. There's so many good recipes in here. I want to try a ton of these. Anne's liniment cake. Again, spoiler alert, Anne is baking a very special cake. It's maybe the first cake she's made, or one of the first cakes she's ever made for the minister and his wife, because they are coming over for tea, and she's so excited to do it and make this delicious treat for them. Again, it's a mix-up, it's a mistake. She grabs the vanilla bottle thinking, of course, it's full of delicious vanilla, and instead there's a liniment in the bottle. And as it turns out, I don't know how this would work out, but the liniment bottle gets broken and what was inside of it gets put into a vanilla bottle. It's an honest mistake. Of course, I'd probably smell it and be like, this vanilla smells terrible, but Anne is 11 years old, so Anne's liniment cake is in here, but it does contain actual vanilla. It doesn't sub out the vanilla for liniment, thank goodness. There's also a recipe in here for tantalizing raspberry tarts. So another raspberry recipe that seems to be kind of a common theme. Those are the tarts that the schoolgirls of Avonlea have in their lunches and swap, and they all kind of pool their lunches and get to sample everything. This book also contains some really charming drawings, I think. That's the cover right there. How cute. How cute is that, with Anne in her pinafore apron. Here are the girls and they're picnicking together. I think this was a scene from, yep, Anne of Avonlea, Anne's birthday, and they all go tromping through the woods and making discoveries in nature and all kinds of things. It's really delightful. Honestly, these books have been amazing to read before bed. For me anyway. They're relaxing. Anne is going through some very big life changes. She starts the book as an orphan, and it just kind of goes through her life journey, her imagination. She's a very romantic person. They're just such a nice way to wind down before I go to sleep. There's not just sweet things in here. There's this thick and creamy vegetable soup. I almost decided to make that one. I just didn't think it was quite as recognizable as that raspberry cordial. This is supposed to be a children's cookbook. I really enjoy it. I think it has some really good recipes in the book, all inspired by the stories and the foods of that time. Diana Barry's favorite raspberry cordial, I'm sure it wasn't her favorite after the incident. It's a pretty simple recipe. It just has frozen raspberries, sugar, water, and lemons in it. So I think I should be able to handle this. Raspberries, I will say, I like them. I don't love them. They're not my number one fruit. It's not usually something that I go for. So kind of a different flavor profile for me. Here's to trying new things. Here's to reading new books. Let's get started. Admittedly, I don't know a lot about fruit cordials. I've never made one. From my understanding, it's fruit infused into like a sugar syrup. And then it's preserved with some sort of citric acid. So I'm using lemon juice in this as the recipe directs. It is supposed to keep for up to a month in the fridge. I think there are other ways that you can preserve this longer term to make it like more shelf stable. I'm not gonna be doing that today. I'm gonna be cutting this recipe in half because I don't wanna make a ton of it. I don't know if I'm gonna love it. Maybe I will, maybe I'll make more in the future, but we'll see. This recipe starts with frozen raspberries. And so this is 300 grams. And I have a feeling that this raspberry juice is gonna stain things. So I have to be very careful. And then to that I'm adding my sugar. Cook over medium heat, stirring once in a while for 20 to 25 minutes. So let's put some heat under that. I am gonna give that a bit of a stir just to get those raspberries coated. I'm only about 5 minutes in and this is what it looks like so far. So you can see that things are happening pretty quickly. It's looking melted, of course. All of those raspberries have thawed out, but it's like very syrupy in there. 5 minutes left, and this is what's happening now. See how much it is bubbling. Everything is kind of breaking down. It's very sticky. I even lowered the heat on this a little bit because it was cooking at a very rapid pace. I'm supposed to go in with a potato masher after this, but it seems like the fruit itself is almost completely broken down. So I don't know how necessary that step is going to be. It is kind of basically jam at this point. I mean, I'll give it a shot. There's nothing to mash. It's just jelly and seeds at this point. Maybe if you're making a larger batch of this with lots more raspberries, that is necessary. But, you know, since I cut it in half and this is kind of a small batch, maybe that's why this happened. And now I have to strain this mixture so the seeds are out of it. How much am I gonna be able to strain this? We don't know. It is so thick that I don't know how long it's even gonna take for me to get this pushed through the strainer. You can see it, it's happening. There's stuff in there. Get some of that off. That helps. Kind of scraping this with a spoon on the bottom. This is a very sticky process, and I don't know that it's going to yield a lot of juice or whatever after I'm done. And raspberries, they're not the most inexpensive fruit, but I can see how they would make this in the story. Because more than likely they had a place where they could go and like pick raspberries, like a wild patch or something. And have to go to Meyer to get theirs. I feel like I've been doing this forever. I think I'm done with that part. This is what I got. Not a ton, very thick. Believe me, I was pushing raspberry pulp through that sieve for a long time. I cut a lot of time out of this video. I'm supposed to add lemon juice to this. So I've got 1 lemon. I was just reading the recipe again and it says add the lemon juice to the raspberry juice. And this is like, this ain't juice, baby. This is jelly. To the raspberry and the lemon juice mixture, I'm supposed to add 2 cups of boiling water. There we go, looking more liquefied. So this is what we've got. Kind of pulpy, so I'm hoping that that dissolves a little bit. But now I need to let this cool and then chill it for a couple hours before I give it a taste. Whoa, I'm gonna tip this on the floor. I just know it. I was supposed to float a lemon slice in the top and it just kind of like went to the bottom and then barely floated to the top, so you probably can't see it. Raspberry and lemon together I think is a good combination. I'm excited to give this a try. That is really delicious. I think maybe you could tell when this was pouring. It's a little thick, it's a little syrupy. So I don't think this is something that you would want to drink a lot of to like quench your thirst. It's definitely a delicious treat. This would be great over crushed ice, kind of, or like shave ice. But what I want to try is mixing a little bit of fizzy water in with this. So one moment. Please don't fizzle over. Ooh, okay. Let's give it another taste. That's delicious. Okay, that's what I would do with this. So I would make this delicious fruity syrupy concoction, and then I would mix in some soda water, unflavored soda water. Well, actually, I think you could probably mix in some lime flavored soda water and it would be delicious as well. This is really good. The soda water kind of cuts down on the sweetness a little bit. Very refreshing. I could see this being an excellent, hot summer day kind of treat. For as much work as it was to kind of like push the fruit and the pulp through that sieve, I think it was worth it. It made quite a bit of cordial, especially if you're gonna mix it with some soda water or something like that. And it's supposed to keep for up to a month in the refrigerator. What a treat. What a treat. Do you have any cookbooks in your collection that are just kind of sitting on the shelf that you haven't gotten out and tried any recipes from in a while? I would encourage you to do so. Sometimes you end up finding a new favorite. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to see what else I'm up to, you can check me out on Facebook or Instagram. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.